What's up guys, Ivan Carranza here and welcome to Bass Tone Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about note consistency. And this is something that can make or break your playing even though it's a small detail. And I became aware of how consistent my playing was, or actually how inconsistent my playing was, when I started recording myself a few years ago and then listening back to those recordings and also taking a look at the waveform that I had just done. And you know, when I would take a look at it, it would be like a huge spike and then a little note, and a huge spike and then a little note, and it would sound something like this. You know, nothing would be very consistent. And what that does is that it doesn't provide a stable foundation for the rest of the band. You know, it changes the feel of how the bass sounds all the time. And not only that, it also affects how all your pieces of gear are reacting to your playing as well. If you have a compressor, it's going to send different volume spikes to it. If you have a distortion pedal, it's going to react differently because you have quieter and louder notes all over the place. Octave pedals, envelope filters, whatever you have in your signal chain, it's going to react to your playing and, you know, how loud or how quiet your notes are. A great way to practice this is to play eighth notes. And I mean kind of like rock eighth notes. You don't want to like that, even though that still should sound even and consistent. A great starting place is to just stick to one note. For example, I don't know, a C or D on the A string. And try to make those notes as even as you can in terms of volume and tone. You have to pay attention that you're not getting something like this. Unless that's the desired effect, or the other way around. Right, you want both notes as even as possible. Another thing that you can do to keep things even more consistent is that you use only one finger in your plucking hand instead of two. And whether you do that or not depends on how fast the song is, for example. But for a tempo like this one, we can definitely stick to one finger and we should be fine. Let me demonstrate. You know, I'm gonna swap between both. Right? So there's definitely a clear difference there. And if you take a look at your plugging hand, naturally you're gonna be plugging at two different spots, and also you have two different pieces of meat here, so they're gonna sound a bit different. In my case, my middle finger sounds a bit darker than my index finger. And if you want to take things further, let's say we have a couple of chord changes because we've been sticking to just one note for now. So let's say we go like from 1, 3, 6, 5 chord progression. So I'm gonna go. So C, E, A, and G. And I could play it like this. Like that. But I'm having a pretty big jump from. So the notes don't sound that, you know, similar to each other. What I can do in that case is either stick to one string only or try to minimize the range of those notes to probably like 2 strings, for example. So if I was to play it on one string, or in 2 strings, that makes the whole range of the bass line or the riff or whatever you're playing a bit smaller, more compressed, or naturally compressed, so to speak, and that provides a more stable foundation for the rest of the band. Recently, I got asked to do a recording for a couple of friends, and you know, they had a demo, and they were not happy with how the bass was sounding there. So they asked me to retrack the bass for them because the original recording that they did, they were not happy with it. So I re-recorded that and I applied these concepts to record the bass for that. And it's nothing complicated, it was pretty much 8 notes the whole time. And what I did was just use my index finger only and then just play everything on the E string. So let's check that recording out. To summarize, what you can do to make your playing a bit more consistent is to work on your 8th notes, for example, and just pick one note and try to make the volume and tone of both fingers of the plucking hand as even as you can. Then you can also play with one finger only, depending on the tempo of the song, and also take a look at the range of the bass line or groove or riff that you're playing and see if you can play in different positions to make the sound of the notes a bit more even. I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and also don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with the content that's coming to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.